After Johnny Somali and his two buddies were taken down by one Korean dude, a literal line of other Koreans formed, asking to fight him next.
Check your Instagram DM. Let's fight me. I will kill you.
If you're in a 20-mile radius to where I live, be prepared to see me.
Until a Korean Navy SEAL went out and actually found him in his hotel.
Hey.
Oh, I broke the tail off already?
Somali. 어디가? 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 어디가?
You don't need the rest.
어디가? Yo.
Oh my god, time to punch.
And now YouTuber Rotten Mango decided to cover the incident, but to explain the significance of this is on YouTube, she has nearly 4 million subscribers, with 1.8 million views on this video in the first week. And even though I've seen similar numbers recently, Rotten Mango, or Stephanie Sue, is in the top 100 on Apple Podcasts, and even ranked.
Don't worry, I'm saving all the parts for later. Maybe a design in the future.
Number 17 on Spotify with the second most watched true crime podcast. So even though me, Asmon Gold, and Abba and Preach have received millions of views covering Johnny's descent into internet obscurity, we all kinda sit under the same umbrella online, sharing much of the same audience and repeated viewer. But Stephanie Sue in the Rotten Mango podcast introduces Johnny's crimes against Korea to millions of other more offline people, which is only going to apply further pressure to the Korean government to do something very uncharacteristic and absolutely throw the book at an American, as something like 16 years in prison is on the table. And although it seems silly that a podcast documentary can actually impact the outcome of a court case, just remember how R. Kelly's crimes were basically an open secret for several decades until Lifetime made a documentary about him, reminding the public to demand justice.
It's been beheaded.
As this even has NBC News reporting on Johnny Somali, or Ramzi Khalid Ismail, with Dexerto stating he's facing up to 7 years in jail for sharing AI-generated content, putting his previous actions under a microscope, which now may actually lead to terror charges. I hope those $3 super chats were worth it.
That won't pay for nothing.
As he's been basically begging for international notoriety, and now he's put both himself and South Korea's justice system in the spotlight. So if they want to avoid advertising themselves as spineless jellyfish to the international community, further inviting more unemployed behaviors to plague their streets, they're gonna need to lock up Johnny for a very long time, as those videos might actually be his final goodbye to the internet. That's why it's great we have the sponsor for today's video, Raycon. With Black Friday and Cyber Monday shopping coming up, everybody's trying to get a deal, as the holiday season is always a
I do your earbuds myself.
little more expensive than we'd like. So Raycon's everyday earbuds are already half
I just don't have Raycon.
the price of the other
Mainly, I don't have a lot of money.
guys. But right now, Raycon is giving their Black Friday deals of up to 30% site-wide. And you know I've been using my Raycons for a while now, as their awareness mode is perfect for when I'm outside listening to music,
And there will be a link to his channel.
and still want to be able to hear what's going
Like and subscribe.
on around me. But it's their new active noise cancellation mode that's been coming in clutch recently, as I got a lot going on around the house, but now I can still zero in on my work without all that outside noise, especially with all their custom gel tips that get that perfect in-ear fit. So say
If you don't have a perfect in-ear fit, it will fall out.
big on Black Friday and support the channel by going to buyraycon.com/Decoy Voice today and get up to 30% off site-wide. That's up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/Decoy Voice. Now, the beginning of the end for him began when he was literally being hunted during his live streams. So he switched to live streaming inside what appeared to be an empty room, until internet sleuths caught a brief glimpse of a blurry pizza box that locals were quickly able to identify. And as he tried to antagonize the Koreans even further, they caught a reflection of the room off his cell phone, identifying a particular exit sign and an internet cafe monitor, as the chat filled with messages stating they knew where he was staying. As shortly after that, that Korean Navy SEAL found him in the street. But luckily for Johnny, the local authorities were nearby to rescue him.
My hat. 자, 이쪽으로 오세요. 거기.
He's just asking for it all the time. Why not send him to North Korea? He'll love it there. Work for 7 days a week, 20 to 24 hours a day, no eat, some little bit of food, and hardly any sleep. Remember, a little bit without technology, he will go crazy.
Arresting the Korean UDT SEAL that showed absolutely no remorse.
야, 굿나잇, 소말리. 굿나잇. 굿나잇.
And to my understanding, that guy had his bail, luxury hotel, and upcoming legal fees crowdfunded, as he's basically seen as both a local and international hero, just as I predicted would happen years ago. So being afraid to livestream anything but audio, he's resorted to essentially hosting conference calls on X, as these could barely gain a couple hundred listeners, which is a huge drop off from his thousands of video views and the millions of people who would tune in to see him find out, which again was another one of my predictions, that he would slowly slip into internet obscurity as he provides nothing of value other than internet fame and fortune for whoever can find him in the streets, or for insanely famous podcasters that make thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars off of. As I imagine she'll get at least 3 million views, showing a new side of the internet exactly why he's despised by everybody else.
And he starts stripping off his shirt. He's trying to dance all up on this female figure, rubbing baby oil onto her, and the Koreans are screaming at him in Korean.
And to make it worse,
He's asking to be found out.
statue is supposed to be of a kid, which may make his dance a much more serious crime. So
This guy, he's so dumb. You do not do this. He's trying to be daddy. He's trying to be a rich guy with very little money.
at least to Johnny Somali, worst case is he streams that garbage to a couple thousand people on the shadiest streaming site online and nobody notices. And best case, I guess, is he's featured on the #2 crime podcast in the world. Then the mainstream news media picks it up, and now you're going viral for making a video doing very suggestive things to a statue of a kid that was specifically made to commemorate how foreigners committed crimes against kids. So he thought he was being funny to idiots online when he was really reopening one of the most sensitive issues in South Korean history and now making it about him. And speaking of sensitive political issues, after he was streaming alongside some girl,
He's not very bright. I've met people who had more brains than he does.
recording himself vandalizing another guy's home, Johnny later displayed to his livestream AI-generated videos of him hooking up with a female streamer, which violates a brand new bill specifically made to charge people with those videos up to 7 years in jail. So
He's asking for it.
some Korean politician is about to boost their entire career off this incident, as there was never a worse time to be this ignorant to local laws. And I don't think Johnny's intentionally speedrunning going to prison, but if he was,
I think he is. He thinks he's going to get away for scot-free, so he's doing as much damage as he can, as fast as possible.
I don't think he would do anything different. As Dexerto previously reported, he was facing 10 years in jail, which started from his first charge of causing a commotion in a convenience store that in comparison was one of his more milder offenses that he recorded himself committing.
Stupid. You. You Chinese.
But just like in Japan, he'd been bothering their citizens for a while, until the authorities arrested him over something simple as trespassing into a construction site. Now the Japanese made the mistake of letting him off easy, believing his lies and just deporting him. And the citizens are already seeing the effects of allowing foreigners to completely disregard your culture, which is why I think Korea has to absolutely throw the book at him, as not only did the entire world see some idiot twerk and pour baby oil over a statue of a little girl, but also violate a brand new law specifically made in response to public outrage over deepfakes. This case is becoming so high profile that if they don't imprison him for at least half a decade, they're basically broadcasting not only to Koreans, but the entire world that their laws actually don't mean anything. And
That's very true. If they don't put him behind bars for a while, they're telling him, go ahead, do whatever you want, we will do nothing.
other streamers know this, as Legal Mindset is begging people to come forward.
For example, the people that he sexually harassed.
Everyone he's done stuff to should go right to the government immediately, even if they're in the United States, do it. I want to see this guy behind bars.
You need to go file a complaint. Right now, the system looks at how many charges are there. If this guy gets 10, 20 charges against him, he's screwed.
As the convenience store wasn't the only place he bothered workers, he also bothered other streamers, he bothered random buskers, he and his stupid Korean friend bothered random girls in the streets.
Hey.
Oh my god. You know how bad his life is gonna be?
Hey, girl, you gonna be
Extremely.
stream? My friend stream.
Even following them into stores.
Why did she run back in the store, bro? Well, I'm about to crash out. I'm about to crash out. This your friend right here?
And shouting at old ladies just begging for change.
Get lost. Get the on. Come on.
As much as I think Johnny and Johnny Jr. are losers, I think that Korean dude that follows them around for secondhand clout is the most pathetic person I've seen on the internet. So I feel no
And I completely agree.
sympathy for him, as he may have legal issues of his own, and he's pretty much earned it. Hanging out with a guy that literally despises his entire existence.
I like to make content that makes people violent. I hate Asians. I think all Asians need to be exterminated.
And he's doing this and making a friend which is Asian, just to throw him underneath the bus.
Somebody please put this on the news tomorrow.
Which this too turns out to be a crime in Korea, punishable by up to 7 years in jail. On top of the time he went into their subway system, broadcasting that he has a device.
나에겐 폭탄이 있다. 나에겐 폭탄이 있다.
Which again violates local laws that
It's a terrorist.
could get him an additional 2 years in prison. So Dexerto said 10 years in prison. My math here adds up to 16, with some people even saying 29 years. But I guess the sentence length is irrelevant when Korea had an over 99% conviction rate. Now I understand long prison sentences isn't as common in Korea, but the justice system is more of a deterrence for future offenders than rehabilitating previous offenders. So this particular scenario has zero drawbacks when you can imprison someone for several years, then immediately deport him back to his home country. And although incarceration is incredibly expensive, it just might be worth the worldwide headlines of "Do not f with Korea. We got military-age men that'll beat you up everywhere. We got high-speed internet to live stream your beating from every angle. Then we let you rot in a box over laws you never knew existed." And that message is priceless. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on exactly why you need to protect your country's culture before it's too late.
He has messed around and found out. And he's going to find out big. He's going to see Bubba very soon. And Bubba is not going to play friendly. Basically, they should just send him to North Korea after they're done with prison sentence and have him served there because he loved North Korea so much. By the time he gets home, in decades, he should know how to speak Korean and learn to love the Koreans or hate their guts insanely because he's going to get treated like a piece of meat. Like and subscribe and comment for more.